What started off as a mere 1 minute 32-second meeting with Hari Kumar, the ideator, the godfather of the Maverick contest, landed up becoming an earth-shattering, history-creating, epoch-making, never-before-done, one-of-its-kind show in Deloitte. Okay, enough of over-exaggerating now, but please allow me to give you a quick rundown on the hugely successful, first-of-its-kind corporate reality game show called The Maverick.
So what is the Maverick? So consider this. We've got over 8,000 professionals of the Deloitte US firm in India. How do we find those few that are the Mavericks? The few that are the innovators, the few that are going to be the leaders of our firm for tomorrow, the few that can think out of the box. That's how we conceived the idea of Maverick, a unique talent search and development program.
Well, between you and me, I think Hari used the Talent Search and Development Initiative hook to get old-timers like me interested. But I can tell you, for my team members and for 8,000 others in Hyderabad and Mumbai, it was pure, what I call business fun. But what's in it for the firm? What value did it bring to the US-India offices?
The immediate value for the firm is the fact that the practitioners can actually work on key and important projects so the firm gets the best out of them. But think about it long term. The firm truly is developing their future, the future leaders who are going to run and drive this firm. That is the true value. Now, the reason we did it in a fun and entertaining manner is so that for two reasons. One, the employee economy is really difficult and tough right now, so that you need something to boost the morale. And two, if it is fun and entertaining, as I am, as everybody else is, we are all engaged.
Okay, simpleton that I am, I can't comprehend too much of business jargon, so let's change gears. Who in the region knew about the Maverick? Since he hired us to run it, we rehired him to model for the Maverick commercial to tell us what he thought the Maverick was all about. By the way, I must remember to borrow those flippers for my vacation next week. Well, I thought the commercial was great at casting the vision, but how does it all work? Give me the mechanics. My IQ level allows me to only fix cars. So to explain the nuts and bolts of the Maverick, we then got the damaging director, the all-American Gabbar Singh, an infamous villain in Deloitte, to explain the process of the Maverick and how it all works through a hilarious video commercial. For those of you tuning in late, the Maverick contest is a simple 3-step process. Step 1, fill in your applications and solve a simple case study. Step 2, defend your case in a preliminary interview Maverick style. Step 3, the top 10 shortlisted teams get to compete with each other over 6 grueling weeks for the Maverick grand title. So what happened in Step 1? We created a jazzy website, did the floor walks and promotions in Hyderabad and Mumbai, hired our own Cacophonics to compose an out-of-tune Maverick theme song, and by the way, that's the painful cacophony you've been hearing, and launched the applications in a hilarious pre-launch party. But in spite of all the hoopla, we got a huge pile of 4 applications. 4 applications until 8 hours before the deadline. Me thinks, let me just melt away and go on a long vacation with Hari's flippers, of course, and never to show my face again in Deloitte. I guess it wasn't my impounding day yet, and in the next 8 hours.
It was one of the most overwhelming responses that we've ever received. Believe it or not, we had 178 applications. 178 teams, that is almost 12% of our total population in Region 10. Can you believe that? And think about this, we had over 700 people on an average in the cafeteria every Friday for our elimination rounds. And we had over 30,000 hits to our Maverick website. Now that is rewarding.
So what did we do after getting this overwhelming response? We had to somehow bring down the 178 teams to the final 10 teams. So how do we do that? So welcome to Step 2. We dumped the 178 applications on our internal, behind-the-scenes and completely uninterested and laid-back judges who had to be literally dragged and bribed to the judges' table to do the group interview to bring down the top 178 teams to the top 10 competing teams. I must tell you, the teams were so creative and talented that we had the pleasure of Batman, the Joker, along with a host of India television personalities visit us at the US India offices. And that brings us to the last and final step, Step 3. I promise to be brief because I don't want to add to your grief. Now that we had our sheet for our slaughter, read as the top 10 competing teams, how did we go about executing the actual Maverick public competition? We introduced the top 10 teams to the region's professionals and paraded them in an absolutely crazy and wacky grand launch program. Since we had budget constraints from the 1633 Broadway office, the Mavericks' main judges had to make it on their own. Hari found a horse-drawn carriage that he hitchhiked. Kevin came in a borrowed bicycle like the Maverick, Tom Cruise in Top Gun, and Charles hired an Indian auto rickshaw, and he didn't even tip the driver, to make it to the grand launch ceremony. At the grand launch, we gave the top 10 teams their first week's task. I will not bore you by running through all the tasks, but just to give you an idea, here's what we gave them in task 1. The top 10 teams were asked to optimize a 5-star hotel's transportation system. Between you and me, if I were given this task, I would have just told them they could have borrowed Hari's horses or Kevin's cycle or Charles' auto rickshaw to optimize the fleets. But the Mavericks' top 10 teams had different ideas. So the teams visited the hotel, talked to the drivers, talked to the management about various ideas, and presented their solution to the grand jury of the Maverick the following week in a public boardroom in front of a packed audience in the cafeteria. Our judges, Hari Kumar, Kevin Potter, Charles Carrington, thought some of the solutions were outrageous and eliminated 2 teams that day. You know, there's a thin line between being maverick and being silly. The remaining 8 teams that survived the questions and humored the judges stayed on to the next week's task. You get the idea, right? Some of the other subsequent week's tasks included making a 1-minute video advertisement to raise funds for an old age home, devising a marketing strategy for a computer company, and finding the ROI on solar energy in a star hotel, etc., 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 meaning I don't remember. So let me fast forward directly to the 6 weeks task. The grand finale was, grand? With a mega show paying tribute to Michael Jackson and an Indian-style wedding band leading the judges to the boardroom, the packed-to-capacity audience was being kept thoroughly entertained while the finalist teams waited patiently in varying levels of panic. After a long wait, thorough kebab-style grilling and cross-questioning by the judges, it was the team claiming to be the social and organizational misfits that were found to be perfectly fit for the title of the Maverick, the team Misfits and Mr. Fit.
What did the winners get after all? The way I look at it is in 3 different ways. 1, every week the winners got wonderful gifts, anything from iPods to weekend getaways to nanos to whatnot. But think of the second aspect. They actually, irrespective of their title, irrespective of where they are in the organization today, they got to work on some of the best projects for real companies. Now there's no substitute for that. This is not simulated. It was actual live example. Think of the larger piece that they got. They actually now, since the conclusion of the initial piece of the project, they are actually working on some of the most important projects for the region. That does 2 things for them. 1, it gives them the opportunity to express themselves and move up in the hierarchy much faster than anyone else. 2, it gives them exposure to all the leadership that is in Region 10 today. Now, can you think of a better way to do that?
Yes, a promise is a promise, and we did pack off the misfits to get fitter at Europe and get back. Looks like they thoroughly enjoyed themselves and let the steam out. Man, I should have participated, but you see, there are 3 kinds of people. Some who make things happen, some who watch things happen, and some who wonder what happened. Well, the watch things happen and the wonder what happened category of professionals like me were now so charged up seeing the fun and excitement of the Maverick show that there was one question that kept resonating all throughout the show.
Is there a season 2? So let me take it in 2 steps. The short answer is yes, there is going to be a season 2.
In short, 6 weeks of non-stop action with tears, drama, suspense and comedy on one hand, and on the other hand bringing huge value to the firm in terms of employee morale and motivation while grooming the leaders of tomorrow. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the Maverick for you.